Hi, OJ. I never thought my life would end up like this. I loved my wife so much. She was my world. We built a family together, had dreams, and for so many years I did everything I could to provide for them. But somehow, in the midst of it all, I lost her. Or maybe she lost me. What do you do when the person you've been giving your whole heart to turns on you? When the love you fought so hard for to protect crumbles right in front of your eyes. This is a story of how everything I held dear slipped away and how it all ended up in the darkest way possible. I was 21 years when I first met my wife, Sarah. It was in 1998, and I was a soldier stationed in Nigeria. She was just 18, a very beautiful Hausa girl from Wachi, and I was from Ibadan. It didn't take long before I fell deeply in love with her. By 1999, we were married, and a year later, we had our first daughter. She was beautiful, and over time, we were blessed with 3 more children, 2 daughters and a son, 4 in total. I was determined to take care of Sarah and our family. I told her she didn't need to work, and I made sure we had everything as a man. Life was good. By 2014, I made the decision to send them to the US for a better life. I arranged a house and a car for them to stay, whilst I stayed back here in Nigeria, sending money every month for their upkeep. By 2017, I decided it was time to join them. When I got to the US, Sarah had started braiding hair to pass the time while the kids were in school. Little did I know that her little hobby had turned into something much bigger. Everyone loved her work, and soon she became known in all Orlando for her braiding skills. Her business grew, and with it, her income. She was bringing in good money, more than I ever imagined. I left everything behind in Nigeria to be with them in Orlando, but I had no papers, so I had to start all over from the scratch. I took up menial jobs, anything I could find to contribute to the family, but my income was nothing compared to what Sarah was making. She had become the breadwinner, and it wasn't long before things started to change between us. She started nagging me about money, calling me lazy and useless. The kids too started favoring her because she could give them everything they wanted. They looked up to her while I felt more and more pushed aside. I worked hard, OJ. I worked hard, even got my papers and started driving for Uber, but still, I couldn't keep up to her earnings. She was making over $1,000 a day with the help of our 4 daughters who she had trained into braiding. It is at this point that I would ask that you subscribe to the channel, share this video or a comment, because that is the only way you encourage me to bring you more stories and confessions. Please subscribe and not miss out on the end of the story. Let's go. The more successful she became, the more distance we grew. She started staying out late, calling the shots, and making it clear she didn't need me. She even stopped cooking for me. I tried to talk to her, begged her to remember the life we had built together, but it only seemed to be making things worse. I was heartbroken and humiliated, OJ. I cried to my friends, asking them to talk to her, but nothing worked. She just didn't care anymore. In July 2022, she dropped another bombshell. She had bought a house. We all moved in, but nothing changed. She continued to treat me like I was a stranger in my own home, even locked me out in the cold a few times. She would tell me to leave, calling me irresponsible, while the kids sided with her. I sank deeper and deeper into depression. I thought about ending it all so many times. I confided in my friends, but they just told me to be patient, to try and hold on. I couldn't understand how the woman I loved so much had turned into this. I had invested everything in our lives together, and now she was treating me like I didn't matter. In April 2023, she told me she had bought another house, one for herself and her customers. She said the boys could stay with me, but the girls would go with her. When I asked her why she wanted to split the family, she said it was because the kids would disturb her clients. I felt powerless. I agreed, hoping that maybe one day things would change. But it didn't. On August 21st, 2023, she told me she wanted the boys to move in with her, leaving me alone in the old house. She told me to bring over the rest of her things and the kids' belongings on Friday night. I did as she asked, but when I got there, she didn't even let me in. She took the stuff and left me standing outside, knocking on the door for almost an hour. Wow. My birthday came a few days later, on August 26th. That morning, she sent me a message. Happy birthday, friend. We are better off as friends than as lovers. You need to find somewhere else to stay because I'm getting rid of the old house. I've moved on. I wish you all the best. I couldn't believe it, OJ. Later that day, the kids called me to get groceries, and I told them I would bring them in the evening. I arrived at 6:30 p.m., groceries in my hand. The kids opened the door, and I asked where their mother was. They said she was in the shower. I don't know what came over me, OJ. At that same moment, I walked to the bathroom, and when I saw her, I pulled out a gun I had brought with me. I shot her, first in the head, then the chest, and finally in the leg. I called 911 after. I told them I'd just killed her. This is the address. I'm waiting. They found me sitting on the floor next to her body when they arrived. She was still breathing when they took her to the hospital, but she died a few hours later. As I write to you now, OJ, I am in Orlando County Jail, waiting for my trial, trying to understand how everything went wrong all of a sudden. For another interesting story, click on this link as a lady shares how her mom introduced her to hookup, which changed her life.